Cool. It says recording. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Master Sergeant Gilly, new Sergeant at Arms for our recruiting service top 3. It's my pleasure to welcome you guys to the May general membership meeting. This will be our very first meeting as a newly elected council. So we're obviously very excited to be here and to see how we can better serve you guys for this upcoming year. To kick off our meeting, we'll turn things over to our president. He's going to introduce our guest speaker for today. As a reminder, if you guys have questions, throw them in the chat. We'll get to them at the end of the briefing, and we'll go from there. Sergeant Garza, the floor is yours, sir.
Awesome, thank you, Sergeant Gailey. So I want to welcome everyone to the top 3 mentorship of the month with Chief Master Sergeant Michael Young, a special individual to me. Not only has I known him since I was a senior airman, we were actually deployed together in Afghanistan back in 2012 together. So the relationship that we built in that times actually kind of really goes hand in hand with this program. So Chief Master Sergeant Michael Young was actually the first person to actually teach me the Air Force, the big C, the caring, the why, building a team. So mainly everything, my drive, my passion, I actually learned from him early as a senior airman. So I just want to introduce him. It's Chief Master Sergeant retired Michael Young, and the floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Matt. And folks, it is a really good day for me to be among airmen again, especially the cream of the recruiting service. Little bit about me. I was a 30-year veteran, 30 years, 23 days. And they don't pay it for the hours, and that's why I don't remember how many hours. But I was a defender for 28 years, and then can you guys hear me all right? Am I coming across loud and clear? Cool, thanks. I was a defender for 28 years, retired last February here in Montgomery, and decided to stay. Broadcasting from Cloverdale, which is one of the oldest neighborhoods in Montgomery. If you've ever been down here, this is one of the real jewels of Montgomery. Montgomery is a well-kept secret. I didn't know the beauty, culture, and history of this place, and I'm glad to have settled here. I found some purpose work after I retired, but I got to tell a quick recruiter story first. So I came in the Air Force in January of 1990. Hold the old jokes till the end. I know I'm dating myself. And back then, I joined the Air Force from Frankfurt, Germany. I was a military brat. My stepfather was stationed at Ramstein. So I went through MAPS at Launchtool Regional Medical Center. My recruiter was out of Frankfurt. I was at Ramstein, so I had to commute, and there was some phone calls and long trips. And I wanted to be a security specialist. Back in the old days, security and law enforcement were separated. I wanted to be a grunt, but of the Air Force quality. You know, I wanted all the bad tough guy training. I just didn't want to live like a soldier. I wanted to live like an airman. So I go to my recruiter and I took my ASVABs and I got a 91 on admin. I won't tell you the other subpar scores. So my recruiter goes, "Hey, Mike, we need computer operators. So why don't you take this computer operator test and we'll see if we can get you a tech job." And I was like, no, I want to be a machine gunner, but I'll take it. So I started to get my hopes up, and I was talking to my stepfather, who was a senior master sergeant. And he's like, "Hey, you could get a great job in comm and all this other stuff." So I take this test, and it was pretty difficult. And I was not a natural intellect by any stretch. So I go back to see my recruiter and I go, "Hey, boss, how did my computer operator test go?" And he's like, "Hey, Mike, here to tell you that security specialist job is wide open. So we're going to plug you into that." So I knew that I was destined for greatness in the security specialist career field, and not my recruiter didn't even share the results with me. He was just very positive and, "Hey, look, you're going to be a great machine gunner. You know, just if you can count to 800, because that's how many bullets you get, you're going to be fine." So that was my recruiter experience. And I looked on my first contract, and there's whiteout, where the guy started to pencil in the communication AFSC, and it went back to 811XO to be a security specialist. So the Air Force knew right away that security police was the job for me, and I loved it. I had a great career. So I found some purpose work now, and I do a couple of things. My day job is I'm a contracted instructor at the Air University's Eaker Center. I train civilian supervisors. I teach civilian PME. And then kind of like my purpose work along with that is I gained a certification with the Resilience Building Leader Program and later got recruited to be an adjunct instructor for the Resilience Building Leader Program. And I'm also an independent consultant with the Courageous Leadership Alliance. Some of you might know Chief Master Sergeant Todd Simmons. That's his organization. He's also affiliated with RBLP, as that organization is. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about is a very special certification program. And I'm not here to sell anything. AFCOOL pays for it. It's zero cost to you guys. So I wanted to go over some basic tenets about the Resilience Building Leader Program. I've got a one-pager with some facts on it that I can make available to you, or it's available to you on the website. I can answer your questions about the program and how to navigate the AFCOOL waters, which every service's cool approach is a little bit different, and then give you guys some tips on how to recommend the program to folks that are NCOs or airmen, because AFCOOL kind of only covers that E7, 8, and 9, but there's a provision using the Special Form 182, which is a request for funding for training that units can do for folks that are E6s in that frontline leader and middle manager position. So any questions so far? If not, I'm gonna jump on screen share and I'll bring up the one pager I have. I also have an example of a Special Form 182, which RBLP pre-prints, so you don't have to do all the code and hard work. That's also on the website. But let me share my screen and bring up some facts on RBLP. So quick thumbs up. Can you guys see the one pager?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So a couple of quick things. Resilience Building Leader Program provides an industry leading, and I'm telling you, this is just, don't take my word for it, go research for yourself. The caliber of leader that RBLP is attracting. If you look in the world of certifications and in professional certifications, we're most familiar with PMP. There's the Senior Human Resource Manager, the Air Force, I think it's still the community college still has that program management certificate, the PMC that folks get. This dovetails that in a very special way. So the whole purpose of RBLP is to create leaders that work together to make resiliency a core competency. And I need to examine that word just a little bit. A competency means you do something to a certain level of proficiency. We were expected to maintain firearms qualifications to the proficiency that our job required. Every AFSC has requirements, and this dovetails right into it, because for me, in my experience, real quick, it codified all of those intangible kind of caring. We say the big C, but if you had to define what resiliency was, I bet you as many people as are in this room, there's as many definitions for resiliency. And in the context of team building resiliency, that's where RBLP comes in. And it really, you know, the what's in it for me kind of thing at first, because that's not everybody's driver, but people want to know, why should I spend my AFCOOL money on RBLP? What is it going to give me? And I'll talk about the tangible and intangible benefits first. The tangible benefits are, as you can see here, you're going to have opportunities to make sure your team can absorb adverse times, tough times. That's what the team building, resiliency building leader program does. It enables leaders to prepare their teams for adversity so they can lean on each other. First of all, be self-aware to recognize that something might not be going well, and you need to lean on your left and your right flanks, you know, and I speak a little tactically because I'm a ground domain, you know, no math, ASVAB waiver airman. So bear with me in that. You get ready for the tough times, so when they come again, and in our trade, in our culture, adversity is every day. It can be every day, especially when things go south on the world picture. So we want to be able to make sure our teams can absorb adversity, learn from it, and move forward and face that next adversity more holistically and healthily. And when you talk about, when we talk in the Air Force about promotion and we talk about the potential to serve in a higher grade, giving yourself the tools to lead at a team level is absolutely in line with what the Air Force is looking for. We want leaders that are invested in the soft skills. And the Air Force of today that you guys are facing is already different from the Air Force I left a year ago, which is so different from the Air Force I joined 30 plus years ago. So keeping your finger on the pulse of keeping troops healthy and ready, giving them that edge and that emotional intelligence to understand, hey, I need some help. I need to lean on left and right. The left and right is strong to support me. So when the next wave of adversity comes, it won't be so traumatic or damaging. When you talk about the consequences of high morale, and that's an interesting concept too, because we confuse mood with morale. I used to look at my defenders at 4:30 in the morning, and that mood was not good. But the morale was there because morale, by definition, is someone's willingness to do something. And optimally, those two concepts level out. But more often than not, the mood might need a little work, but the morale is there because folks showed up, they're on time, they're ready to go defend the base or do whatever they do. So they've got resilience and morale built in. But we want to keep that willingness high, promote better teamwork, because in the RBLP, you'll learn tools to make sure that everybody is treated with respect, that there's trust, that there is a social, you hear this, social capital with your folks, that you're investing in an emotional bond that creates a social trust, not just a task trust. And in your guys' world as recruiters, trust is key, absolutely key for you guys. I would hope, I presume it is. I was never a recruiter, but there's so many moving parts and everybody has their piece of the recruiting puzzle that I would hope that trust gets, made stronger through that social element where there's an emotional bond between you to where the expected performance of this teammate and who might need some help and who's all right, but might need some enhancement or need some checking on. Everything's done online. We coordinate like this we use Microsoft Teams now, but you're either have 3 or up to 5 training sessions that can last anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. It goes at the speed of facilitation and learning, but it's 100% online. And what's interesting is that the final exam, after you go through your lessons and test prep with your adjunct instructor, which is assigned just to you one-on-one, the exam is an oral exam with a PhD or a doctoral student. So there are some master level academics who do the oral examination of all the required information. The website, as you see at the bottom of this one pager, and again, I can send this to you guys for distribution, is resiliencebuildingleader.com, and you can do /apply. But if you go to the website, it's very intuitive, very easy to use. It also here on this has the SF82 unit funding codes for some of you resource managers or folks with money spending experience. The codes are already there for you to plug in, and the website still has SF182s that will qualify you to the commensurate level, which is also an interesting thing. RBLP will train to 3 different levels, okay? Once you apply, based on your experience and your education, you either get read in as lined up for frontline supervisor training, which is the RBLP certification, which is pay grades E4 and E5, which we target that frontline leader or that leader in training, frontline supervisors. Middle managers will get the C. That C means coach. That means they'll be able to train resiliency coaches. They're licensed. This is like a license for airmen at pay grades that you see your officers, your E6s and 7s. The senior leaders get that T. And that's usually pay grades of 03 and above, warrant officer, even though we don't have warrants, E8s and above. So it racks out. And all of these certifications are good for 3 years. Every 3 years, you need to come back and get some continuing education and recertify. So those are some quick facts. Has anybody heard, and just please sound off, has anybody heard about RBLP other than Matt? I'm curious. I'm going to stop share for a sec. It's okay if you haven't, but again, don't take my word for it. You'll see some, if you go and research RBLP on LinkedIn or Facebook or social media, you'll see the partnerships that RBLP has made with a lot of different organizations, to include the Courageous Leadership Alliance, which is Todd Simmons' organization. So you'll see names like Chief Tim Horn, Todd Simmons, Tony Richardson. A lot of heavy hitters have kind of flocked to RBLP and they put their name to it. And I would never be involved in an organization that was not credible or had character or dignity. I'm not doing this to pay, my lights are still on and it isn't from RBLP. So I'm a veteran who's trying to just pass on a program for you guys that I wish is 30 years overdue. And one of the main things, and I'll ask Matt Garza, Sergeant Garza, when he graduates and gets certified, is, I'm interested to see if the same experience he had, I had, where all of the intangible notions of care get codified in this program. And again, it's paid for through AFCOOL. There is a timeline, like all of the certifications you get using the COOL. You got a couple months from the time you train to the time you have to take your exam. So I tell you what, when you take these and you're, along with emotional intelligence, self-awareness, building resilience for a team, once you get immersed in that, it's life-changing. Your eyes are open to it and you'll never regress back. But it takes an open heart, that you do have to do some reflection. The certification is not easy. It's challenging, but it is absolutely very satisfying when you take that exam. I came in as a student, and I had to go through the training, and it was long and tough, but I was very, very, very happy when I got through with it. Let me bring up the SF form. I think I still have that SF 182. The SF 182 is easy to find. It's in forms. There's also, like I said, on the website, there's pre-filled out, depending on the level you want to, or you think you're going to rack out at, for you to download and use. So that's enough jabbering out of me. I also want to open the floor to any questions you guys have. You got a chief here. Please, if there's any questions, I can answer you or give you some thoughts or opinions. I am a year out from, I retired last year, so I try to keep my finger on the pulse, what's going on. So glad, I saw the hair standard change and the uniforms and the birth of the Space Force. It's an incredible time to serve right now. And I'm kind of on the periphery of that. And I'm very proud of that. But I'm here for you guys to answer any questions about RBLP. I know you have meeting stuff to do, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'm here for your questions or thoughts.
I would say, Chief, one, thank you for being on. Love to have you. So appreciate that in your service, and congratulations on a career, 30 years. Wow. So we do have an ASA Sergeant Garza's in the course. It looks like we have Master Sergeant Gray, who just took her exam on Monday. So I would love to get some feedback from you, Sergeant Gray, if you're willing to chat about it. Just kind of what it was like for you, your experience through it.
Sure. So I started, sorry, I'm out of breath. I'm in physical therapy and it's killing me. But I took my exam on Monday. The exam was 3.5 hours, but through the course, I met with my instructor once a week for about 7 weeks. And like the chief was saying, we spoke anywhere from about 45 minutes to an hour. But what was really cool is that my instructor was also in the Army, and he was an EOD officer. So he really brought in a lot of experiences and a lot of shared knowledge, which helped me understand a little bit more. So, when you start talking about diversity, inclusion, social intelligence, emotional intelligence, it really, like the chief was saying, does make you reflect, and they make you bring in actual experiences of some of the things that you went through in your career to make you reflect on them. So it was an awesome tool, awesome source. And I'm just really looking forward to taking that back with me as I go back to force. And it makes me feel a little bit more prepared.
What advice would you have for somebody that wants to start getting into the program, and then the ones that are about to finish? Any advice for those?
If you're thinking about it, do it. The material is not, so head over heels that it's going to make you feel behind on anything. It's actually you know, things that we've already learned, but now it's making you look at it from a different perspective. So it's not super hard. It's actually very easy, and your instructors work with you around your schedule. So get into it, don't wait for it. And if you're about to finish, just take notes, man, and really see how you can use that moving forward in your career. Like I said, that's the best thing that I took away from it.
One
Okay, and
thing
it
I
looks,
forgot, I'm sorry, ma'am. One thing I forgot to ask is, so people ask, what will this, so we have a lot of folks at the twilight of their careers getting ready to retire. What will this do for me? It basically gives you a certification that you can market. You can go out on your own and have your own resiliency and leadership consultation business. You can do with this. It's a great resume enhancer. Leaders want folks who are trained and immersed in resiliency to lead their teams and develop them. So I just wanted to, I'm sorry, man, please go ahead with the question. I just wanted to add that.
oh, thank you. So Sergeant Balderrama had a question, and it looks like it's self-paced. I know you said you met with your instructor about an hour once a week. So is that about right? So if someone's going to do it about an hour once a week, self-paced?
Studying, and Sergeant Gray can tell you her experience. Studying, yeah. Once a week is usually good. I would give it a couple hours. It depends on the type of learner you are, and you work with your instructor. If you have to hear to learn, if you have to see to learn, a lot of us have, I'm a teacher, so we have teacher training. So we know how to work for the domains of learning and how to make it most effective. If you need more time to manuscript, but it's okay, very slow learner, then you might need an hour and a half, Sergeant Balderrama. No, just joking. But yeah, it's self-paced, but you work with your instructor. We make ourselves available, and you have a lot of instructors who know how to teach, so they know the taxonomy of learning, and we teach to the knowledge level. There's really no demonstration. It's up to you to demonstrate and leverage out in the field these skills. But yeah.
Fantastic.
Chief, we have one more question for you. So if you could you elaborate on what the actual final exam was like? I know Sergeant Gray mentioned it took her about 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
What about the actual testing process? Is it online? Is it proctored? Is it in person? How many questions roughly are we looking at? Things of that nature.
Very good question. So thank you for that. So when you schedule your exam after your certification training, you will meet again on Zoom face-to-face with your test examiner. All of our test examiners at RBLP are PhDs or doctoral students. You will meet like this, and as in your prep training, the test examiner will take you through the modules in the same kind of format. And Sergeant Gray, this is how I did it, unless something has changed in about the year since I took it, but you basically, all of the required knowledge you have to speak to, and your test examiner will prompt you. An example would be, if I was Matt's test examiner, I would go, hey, Matt, as you went through your training, tell me the difference or the relationship between culture and climate. And then there's these data points that are required knowledge that your test examiner will guide you through. And for RBLP-T, it takes 3.5 hours. C and RBLP, it goes down about an hour to a half hour for each. There's not as much information. Obviously, RBLPT is much more information because you're a trainer. So you're training those coaches. Those coaches are training those supervisors. Those supervisors are leveraging their skills on the front line with the frontline troops at the tactical level. So it's about 3.5 tests. It's not grueling, but depending on your age and your energy level, of which mine are both high and low, it can be tiresome. But they're not there to stump you, to fail you. Everyone involved in RBLP we're veterans. We're veterans. Almost, there's a few non-veterans, but the founders are Marine Corps officers. Dr. Gene Coughlin was a Marine Corps machine gunner. There's famous interview footage from him from the Gulf War. He's an old grunt like me, and now he's all Dr. G'd up and went to Pepperdine. Got Pepperdine. His research is the basis for RBLP. So we want to see our active folks, that our clients that are active duty. We get corporate clients as well, but we want the active duty folks to be absolutely ready. We won't let you go forward until you're ready. And if your instructor goes, you're good, trust them.
Good news, Chief. Good news, Chief. Follow-on question to that. So you mentioned there were 3 different certifications.
Yep.
For those that might not be Air Force School eligible, or maybe they've used all that funding already, what is the average cost of the course, and are all 3 levels of that course the same cost?
So the 3 levels are not. There are variations in both the cost for test prep and exam. And those are on the website, and the current costs are there. Sometimes they fluctuate due to market demand, but they're there on the, I got to refer you guys to the website for that. There is a student support section, and then us, we're the faculty, and the support folks are in charge and responsible for publishing the most current costs for each level of training. And what else did you ask, young man? That was it. That was
it.
Okay.
So the other question too that we had that came to us is, how long is the certification good for? What is the process of recertifying at a later date as well?
So we call it the continuing education in those certifications is good for 3 years. And then you come back to the site, you go through some continuing education. And again, the folks who have adjunct instructor duty titles, like I, are responsible for recertification and that continuing education. And during that, you'll be caught up on the latest in the research, the latest in we, just like you guys, have professional development for our folks who are certified, our certification holders. So there's kind of like a smorgasbord of elective courses you can take if you want to dive deeper in for example, emotional intelligence or toxic leadership or diversity, inclusion, and equity. We have folks that are, we got folks that go to the Goldman Institute for Emotional Intelligence, the University of Southern Florida there's all kinds of stuff, but it's a continuing education continuum after 3 years.
Is that going to be done in the form of like CEUs? They have to get so many CEUs.
Very similar. Again, this culture, the RBLP culture is military invested. So everything is very intuitive and understand for folks. When we get corporate clients and folks that are just off the street working for, I work with people, CEOs of corporations, you really got to reinterpret your language. And that's a good skill for us as we transition to be able to, I don't want to, to speak to everyone very clearly outside of jargon and that's technical stuff that we use. So yeah, you'll find it very, very easy to understand with CEUs, and we slip into our military talk sometimes. It's hard for us not to do. We're conditioned.
Chief, and the last question that we have that we've fielded so far is, we talked about earlier the different levels. So to clarify, this is not only just for senior NCOs. NCOs that are supervising can take this. They just may not be Air Force School funded. Is that correct?
Right. We have RBLP is for frontline folks. Your airmen, your folks that we are charged to find the potential, and this is a way to challenge your E3s, E4s to become more emotionally intelligent, to be agents of resiliency at that tactical level. And it just force multiplies. And when you see it take off, I mean, even after a couple of sessions, the fog of this really goes away. And the reason I get so deeply behind it is because it's skills we hear in the Air Force all the time. I wish I'd have known this as a senior airman. All that education we want to push to the left. This is how RBLP does that. It introduces those sharp folks who want to delve into this to deeper concepts of resiliency, respect, team building, psychological safety, the 6th and 7th order effect. And I talked to Matt about this. The real magic trick, the real superpower of a senior NCO is that 3rd, 4th, 6th level of effect analysis. And if you can imbue these concepts on your frontline leaders, the mid-level leaders, and then yourselves, the force multiplication for good is absolutely immeasurable, and it puts people on a lifelong learning track. And in my opinion, and this has nothing to do with RBLP, I wish I'd have had these skills to save lives earlier in my leadership journey. If emotional intelligence first, and then know how to analyze an environment, how to create an environment. And these things you'll learn with RBLP, how to create an environment of dignity and respect. You hear the cliches, we fill in those blanks and give you the tools to actually manifest the ideas in resilience into reality. And then you just watch. It's absolutely incredible. And it's 30 years too late, but it's here for you guys now to take advantage of. If you have any questions, I'll leave my information with Sergeant Garza. You guys are welcome to research, contact me anytime. I'm a shut-in now. I was living the COVID lifestyle before it was cool. So I'm just here waiting to help you guys.
Absolutely. Appreciate that, Chief. It's like, as far as question goes, that's all we have. If anybody else has anything, we'll pause for a second. If you guys have any questions, feel free to speak up.
You guys have business, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'm here.
Gotcha. Well, like I say, Sergeant Garza has your information. We will definitely get it out to everyone.
Okay.
On behalf of the top three, we thank you. We greatly appreciate your wealth of knowledge and your time. Definitely thank you for your 30 years of service as well, and congrats on the retirement. And thanks for being on today, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for what you do. I'm so proud when I hear about what's going on in the Air Force, and you guys are in a very, very critical space in guaranteeing the future of the force. So continue to grow. You guys have so much power to do good things. Refresh yourselves. You can't give from an empty cup. So make sure you're taking the time to take and eat, drink water, continue to train.
Happy Chief. Have a great day.
Yep. See you guys.
All right, at this time, we'll go ahead and transition over to our general membership meeting. We'll go ahead and turn it over to our newly amended president, Sergeant Garza, for his opening comments. So, sir, the floor is yours.
So I just want to say welcome everyone to our first actual general membership meeting with the new executive council. We have a lot of good things that are coming into the works. We have a lot of programs. Sergeant Gilly should begin the bylaws, as well as some templates for scholarships, sponsorships, and other stuff, including the RBLP program. But that's pretty much what I got. Sergeant Woods.
Hi, mi gente. So I don't really have much. I mean, to piggyback, we're excited. Your executive council met yesterday, got on the same page, and we're just ready to charge for you guys, because this is your top three this next year. So I appreciate taking the time out of your day to hop on. That last program sounds really cool. I've only heard about it through Todd Simmons, which is the retired command chief for AETC, 2nd Air Force. And so I'd never really heard about it before, but it sounds pretty cool. So I'm excited. So thanks for being here, y'all.
Appreciate it, Sergeant Woods. Sergeant Keelis, our new secretary, you have anything you'd like to add?
Nope, just very happy to be here, be part of the team. Been in AFRS for a minute, and I'm really, really excited to learn from everybody. So nice meeting everyone.
Happy, sir. Appreciate you. Sergeant Dodd, he's our new elected treasurer, or money man, AKA. If you could, could you give us a treasurer report, please, sir?
Yes, sir, most definitely. As of right now, we have $1,426.37 in our Venmo account, and we have $2,935.51 in our banking account. I'm still updating our membership log, so bear with me on that, but I'm showing 138 members currently with dues paid. I'll go through that, make sure we're good to go and up to date, and as soon as I get a solid product, I'll have that available as well.
Happy, sir. Appreciate you. Also, like Sergeant Wood said yesterday, we as executive council, we all met yesterday. And one of the things we did, other than work on the bylaws, is we also voted on our committee members for all those committees that we have. We definitely had a lot of great nominees step up. We want to say thanks for all of that time it took and the initiative to get those packages to us. And at this time, we want to go ahead and announce those winners. We'll send them out via email and social media later on this afternoon. But we had the call today, so we figured we'd go ahead and announce those as well. So we'll start with the awards committee. So for our awards committee, we went with 3 members. It's going to be Master Sergeant George, Master Sergeant Holly Hernandez, and Master Sergeant Arnold. Next, for the social media, we went with Master Sergeant Rome and Master Sergeant Mavron. For our newly renamed Professional Development Committee. We wanted to put a little more focus on this one than we had in the previous year, so we bumped it up 2 members up to 3. So we went with Master Sergeant Allard, Sergeant Hardiman, and Sergeant Higgins. And for our Guard and Reserve POCs, we're still reaching out to the reserve to try to get a couple more people involved. So far, we have a Sergeant Palmer and a Sergeant Miranda. And last but not least, we have our Ways and Means Committee. We have a Sergeant Shields and sorry if I butcher your name, sir, but it's Master Sergeant Baird. So congrats to all the winners. Like I said, we had a lot of competitive packages. It was hard for us to pick those people. However, we looked at each individual package and looked to see what you guys had to offer. And I think we're definitely set up for success for this upcoming year. So again, congrats to all the winners. Look forward to working with you guys in the future. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Sergeant Garza for his closing remarks. Sergeant Garza, you there?
My bad, I was on mute. But thank you for everyone that applied for all the committees. Looking forward to working with y'all in the future with all the different events that we're going to be doing, especially the Professional Development Committee. But other than that, that's all I got. Our next meeting, we'll be sending out the info for June and who will be our mentor of the month as well. That information. And if you have any questions on the RD program, you can ask me. You can reach out to Sergeant Gray, who's actually taking the exam. My exam is not till 14 May. And you can also request certain instructors. So if you wanted to work with a certain instructor, you can say, hey, I want this to be my teacher as well. Okay. Sergeant Woods, are we good to adjourn? We good?
I'll ask that. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up that's on the Zoom? Any questions? I'll hold it for a second.
Hey, this is Senior Klein. How you guys doing?
Hey.
Excuse me being in my closet here. My son's quarantined until his COVID test comes back. So
Oh, no.
being a single dad, I'm here home alone with him. Real quick, we are putting together a total force impact enhancement seminar. One of the things that I've noticed out here, especially in 4-5, that I'm going out and people are telling me their zone sucks. And then I pull their appointments and they've had like 50 appointments for the quarter and put 5 people in. And once you start going through and actually diagnosing what's wrong, there have plenty of appointments. It's not that their zone sucks, it's that their impact sucks really, or their sales suck. So Sergeant McGuire is my acting senior trainer right now, and she put this together. So it starts this Friday, but it's a real quick 20-30 minutes. We have some of the best impact instructors in the command that are coming out to teach for us. It'll be every Friday, 1300 Central Standard Time. There is a flyer out. I think Sergeant Walker is the first instructor, if I remember right. And yeah, I'm having my non-certified recruiters and non-ATB recruiters. I'll have them, it's mandatory for them to get on, but I know there's a lot of reserve people getting on, Air National Guard. So feel free for anybody out there that thinks that their recruiters need it. It's not something for flight chiefs really, but if you see people struggling with sales, I think it'll be a good opportunity for them. That's it.
Can we get the flyer? Can you email myself, or who should I reach out to so we could maybe?
It's on the top 3 page. I'll have Sergeant McGuire post it again.
Okay.
And I've sent it out to all the pro soups and all the training shops as well.
I have seen it. It's a blue background. Okay.
Correct.
Yes,
Yep.
I've seen it. Awesome.
Awesome.
All right. If nobody else has anything, I'm good. Again, thank you guys for your time today.
I second that motion to close. We'll go ahead and close it at 12:43. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, the 2nd of June. You guys have a great day.
You too.